been looking forward to connecting with this young lady who has done some great things and is getting ready to release her next documentary. And she's here smiling and waiting in the lobby. There is Shreya Patel. How are you, Shreya?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and it's great to be able to connect with you. You know, even the story and how we've met and how we've had some really nice conversations. I'm glad that we were able to bring you here. And Shreya, you're a busy lady. You know, you've done a lot of things already. You're an actor, and you're a model, and you're a filmmaker, and of course, I already know quite a bit about you just from recently, but you were like nominated for Forbes 30, and you were former Miss Teen Sarnia. How do you do all of this? You know, how do you keep up with yourself?
A long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you've got quite a career going already.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be in this like entertainment business since I was like 6 years old. So
Yeah.
I've been prepping since I was pretty young, and here I am now, you know? So it's been like a really big, long journey.
Yeah. And well, I don't think the journey's close to being over for you yet. You're also quite a mental health advocate for Bell Let's Talk, right?
Yes, I was approached in 2018, I was approached to be in their campaign. It's been 3 years since I've been with them now.
Right. So you still continue to do that, do you?
Yeah, so that was my biggest like mental health advocacy work, but I've been doing mental health advocacy since I was like pretty young, because I think like mental health is not spoken about in our community, especially because I'm South Asian. Barely anyone ever talks about it. So I kind of wanted to break taboos about it. And then when I got this massive platform to do that, I was just so grateful for it.
Yeah, well, I agree with it. It's been talked about more, but we've still got a long way to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, people are talking about it, but I wish that people would implement it and people would be more kind and compassionate towards each other, because I feel like mental health does affect everyone. And it's not just like, it doesn't have to be something severe. Everyone goes through their lows in life, and that's okay. If you're going to go to the doctor, if you get hurt, why can't you go to the doctor if you're not feeling like, you know, too well mentally? It's okay. You know, everyone can get through this together if we actually just support each other.
I agree with you 150% for sure. I think talking about it more and not judging, and we like to say stomp the stigma, right, is something that when we do, we need to support each other. Very good. Well, let's talk a little bit more about you. You've got a new documentary coming out that you're going to release coming up this weekend, May the 23rd. Before we get into details about that, though, this isn't your first film that you've done, right? Talk about what you've done before.
So I made my first documentary. It's called Girl Up. It's about human trafficking that happens in Toronto, but it actually like can relate to all of Canada or first world countries, because a lot of people don't understand what human trafficking is in first world countries. It's not like girls are getting trafficked, like kidnapped and getting trafficked and forced into sex trade. It's more like a boyfriend who would come into your life and like manipulate you into getting into the sex trade. It's very slow and steady process, and the girls don't know that they're getting trafficked because it's not forced in a way, but they're like stuck in it. So that's what I discuss in the whole documentary.
And that just seems like a bit of a different description when we say human trafficking. Like, we talked about that earlier before we started our broadcast today, and I was really quite surprised at the description of human trafficking. We see, you know, movies, and it's older men taking advantage of younger girls and all. It's not all about that, though.
It's actually not at all like that in our country. Most of these traffickers are like 18 to 34 years old, and they find these girls on like anywhere you can possibly think of: schools, Tinder, your backyard, like buses, like anywhere you could possibly think of. And especially in a place like Sarnia, we need to be very careful, because London is the hub of human trafficking. It's international human trafficking is what you're talking about, like the movies like Taken, where the girls are getting kidnapped and like forced into sex trade. But in our country or any first world countries, it's domestic human trafficking. domestic human trafficking is when the whole crime happens within the country, and it's someone who is Canadian pushing a girl who is Canadian. It's not like they're getting trafficked and exported into a different country and things like that.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you and I will be doing another show down the road then to talk more about that.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss about how it works, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll come to that, but let's come to the reason we're here today to talk about you and your latest documentary. It's called Unity. How did this come about to become created?
Well, right 2 days before the lockdown, I was like, well, the world is going through like this whole massive pandemic. I wonder if I can get my friends from around the world, maybe like 5 or 6, maybe 8, to send me videos of how their street looks like. That's it. That was the idea. But what turned out to be 5 or 6 friends, it just became a global documentary. And I have 66 countries in this documentary in 6 different continents. And with that, we just started this organization because one of my friends, his name is Sachit Gupta, he just came up with this amazing idea of like how love spreads faster than a virus. And I was like, oh, this is such a phenomenal like kind of messaging. And he's like, why don't we just mix it together and start this organization? And then we launched the documentary through that. So yeah, like now it's part of Love Spreads. And the whole idea of this documentary was to showcase unity within all these countries.
Great idea. And we've got a teaser trailer we're going to show everybody right now. We'll just give you a glimpse of what you can expect coming up on May 23rd. Take a look at this short video, and then we'll be back to talk with Shreya Patel some more.
730 hours. That's the time it took for a virus to spread to alarming heights.
But it took just 1 minute to make the choice to stay inside and protect each other. It took just 1 moment for first responders to provide support. And it took 1 second, 1 singular heartbeat to choose love over fear.
And just like that, in the spark of an instant, an epiphany.
Love is free, love is strength. So we share it through our art, through our phone calls to loved ones.
The truth is, love spreads faster than a virus. We choose to prove that by sharing people's stories from all over the world.
We're calling on you now. Click the link and visit lovespreads.org and discover how you can lend your voice, join the team, and help us spread love even faster. We will finally see we are one when we choose to act as one.
Now, folks, you can't see what I see when that is playing, but I still see Shreya, and I see that smile and a twinkle in your eye when you watch that trailer of your own documentary. It's got to be feeling pretty proud and pretty happy that this is coming to light.
I am pretty happy because it's like, for the first time in my life, I feel like the world is so small. I have like all these people from around the world sending me these like their pieces for the documentary. And you realize like no matter what their race, what their background, what their culture, what language they speak, we all are just one race, and that's human. And this documentary just basically showcases that. I mean, again, I'd want to be honest, like some of the stories that I did get are heartbreaking because some of these countries are not as equipped as we are in Canada. So there are some heartbreaking stories in there that I wish I could do something to help them. But at the end of the day, it's like the whole world is going through this pandemic, and you will be able to relate to every single one of them. The kind of fear and the anxiety and not knowing what's going to happen, like the world is feeling that, and it's together. So yeah, it's a special project for me.
Yeah. Well, you say you want to do something, but I think you are doing something just by putting this together and sharing it. You know, it all starts with a message and an impact. And, you know, I think you're going to have a pretty large impact with I think you already have with just the conversations I've had with you. And I've talked to some other people about who you are as well. And they're sharing the same thing, that, your mission is to have an impact in whatever you seem to do in your life. And this is just another part of it in that journey. How did you design this? I mean, like you said, a friend of yours said, talked about love, and I mean, the Beatles said it a long time ago, right? All you need is love, right? So have we forgotten all of that? And is this a reminder?
New generation is reminding everyone, I guess. But yeah,
It's not
like
a,
bunch of my friends who have been part of this, and like, it's weird when this team came together. Like again, like I don't know like my friend Sachit, like I've never met him in person before. We met on Zoom for the first
oh,
time like 2 months ago. And like my second editor, Jacob, he's phenomenal. He's in Austin, Texas. I've never met him again. Like I've not met half of my team. My friend Mihal, she's like in Germany again, never met her, but she is the one who has helped me to get most of these countries. So I'm so grateful for her. She's like pulling through for me, and we have never met before. This is like my coronavirus gifts. Like these people are just amazing. The world feels small, really.
well, I like how I felt the same way for a long time, just being in the live streaming world for so many years now. I've always said, live streaming has taken away all those borders, and it's really going to be a powerful tool. And I've always felt that way. I've been doing it for 10 years, right? So when this all happened, and then I see all these people going online, and people like yourself who are getting the same feeling from it, we're kind of forced to get along right now, aren't we?
Isn't that kind of cool? I hope that this force just stays that way, and we all can just like get along and just help each other out.
You've got some friends out here saying hello. Do you know who's Julius?
He's like my second dad. He's like basically my uncle from India. He's literally like my second dad.
Oh, okay.
Hi, uncle. Oh, Syra, that's like she's like my sister. She's like, I love that girl so much. Hi, Syra. My biggest supporter ever. It's just so much love.
Well, it's nice to have the support around you, right, when you're doing these kind of projects. Now, this is coming out this Saturday, May the 23rd. Is that the plan?
So we're releasing it for friends and family and the people that know about it, like our communities and stuff like that. We're releasing on May 23rd for them. So it's a pre-release, and then we're going to do like a Kickstarter campaign for at least like a month or so, and then try to make it a bigger release for public. Like for 2 or 3 days, we're going to keep the documentary open for public. But we haven't had the chance to really outreach and like reach out to other people from around the world. So we're going to use this time after the documentary releases. Publicly, it's going to be released for 2 or 3 days, and then go into Kickstarter campaign and then do like a public release after, hopefully. But yes, May 23rd in the afternoon sometime. But people should go and sign up on www.lovespreads.org, and you can put in your email, and we're going to send you a link to the documentary when it releases on the 23rd.
All right. Well, sounds good. And we're excited to be joining you with that. I think we've got to work out some details, but we'll be broadcasting that on my YouTube channel as well, along with my Facebook, so we can get you some more attention out there for all this. I really think this is so wonderful that you're doing and all of this. And you've got, I've always been one to say, you surround yourself with the right people and great things can happen, right? Mm-hmm. And folks, I can tell you, I've talked to Shreya on the phone, and she's got very, very good positive philosophies that is making all of this happen. What about a family? I imagine family, you weren't originally going to do all of this. You were going to do something else. Is that right?
Well, yeah. When I was younger, I always wanted to be in fashion, and my parents were like, I don't know. And I did it, and they're so supportive. Now here we go. My parents, hi mom, hi dad. They're so supportive, and they're just always have my back. And everything that I am right now is because of how my parents are. My parents are like one of the most positive people on this planet Earth. Like the world can be falling apart, and they'll be like, oh, but like we're together. That's positive, right? Like the smallest thing, they'll pick out the most positive thing out of the 100 things that might be going wrong. And I get that from them.
Well, what's the alternative, right? I've always said it's easy to be negative. It does take some thought and effort to be positive, but the results are so much better coming out from all of that, right?
Exactly. Just like you have to be content with what you have. Like do not set up like expectations. Just like live your life and be content with it, because we're really privileged. I think when you watch the documentary, like people who have been suffering and feeling like, they're alone and things like that. Yeah, it sucks. But there are countries that don't even have water to drink during this time. So we feel like privileged, and we should be content with that.
Well, I agree with you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing I haven't even seen the documentary yet, folks, so it's going to be new to me as well, but just from the trailers we've shared, I'm very excited for that. And we do have another one that I'll be showing at the end of the show here today, so make sure you stick around for that. Shreya, before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day here, is there anything else you want to put out to everybody watching?
Just be safe. Please maintain social distancing. I know some people think it's a hoax, but I know people who have been impacted by this. And you'll see that when you watch the documentary as well. It's heartbreaking, so don't take it lightly. And spread love.
Spread love. What a great message. Thanks for bringing this to light here today. And thanks for your time today. And hi, Mom and Dad. Thanks for raising a wonderful daughter here who's going to, I think, be doing even more greater things than she already has accomplished in her life. Shreya, I look forward to talking to you some more.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, Shreya Patel, wonderful young lady doing many great things, and so happy that she spent some time here with us today to talk about her new documentary, Unity, being released on May the 23rd on YouTube. It'll also be available on my Facebook and my YouTube. We wanted to help Shreya out. I like to connect with great and positive people, and Shreya is one of those folks. So, again, happy to have her here.